So just briefly, my wife isn't feeling real great tonight, and so she's not here. Her name is Lisa, and I'm mostly famous for being her husband, and then the kids that we have. And it's so great to see so many familiar faces from the community, and some very well-respected colleagues in natural medicine that are also here with us as well. And I think the thing that I enjoy most is seeing people get well, and especially some of the more challenging, difficult cases. My dad died when he was 39, and I was a 9-year-old. And it was, you know, it was quite a challenging thing to work through, especially as a minister, and prayers weren't answered, and it was you know, a long thing to figure out, and had a lot of soul searching to do with my maker over some of these things. But I also, I think, really realized that really shaped me as a doctor, and realizing that health isn't a given. It's not just that you just show up and you're going to be healthy and you're going to look fantastic for a lifetime. And so wanted to be a naturopathic doctor, and ended up, naturopaths couldn't legally practice in California in the early 80s. You could be put in jail. So the chiropractic degree helped me, and chiropractor really helped me fix some problems that I had. And so anyhow, this is kind of, just wanted to give you a little background of how we got here. We moved down from Santa Cruz in '87 and started our practice, and now just to see it grow and flourish. This was Dr. Eugene Levin. Did anybody know Eugene Levin in town? What a wonderful medical doctor he was, internist, and just as kind as can be. Did his whole career right here in this office. And so I fortunately had a right of first refusal, so we were able to take this over, and now let it become our therapy suite, and also a place where we can get some chairs in. So as time has gone on, you have these people that come alongside you and come alongside and share similar values and similar purposes, and that's why we're so happy to really introduce more to our community, Dr. Bree and Dr. Barbara. And I asked them if they would give a presentation, a little bit about who they are, also what they do, what they treat, how they treat, and also I'd like to see if there's anything in specifics, because as they're going to be giving their presentations, I like to make sure that each person has whatever interested them in coming tonight, at least that somehow those things could be addressed. And I just, would you guys be open to maybe sharing some of the things that you'd like to have addressed tonight? I don't have to go down the line, but Robert?
I put down that I'd like to slow down my dementia.
Okay.
Hate to admit that in public.
Well,
Don't turn me in.
you know, hopefully you'll forget.
You're not alone, and you can help other people by sharing. You don't know who's here that might need to hear what you have to say, so that's very brave of you.
I got a good story to share about that.
All right. Well, thank you. Who else? Yeah.
Chronic fatigue.
Chronic fatigue. Who else? You got one, don't you?
I'm here for the cheese.
Pretty much chronic fatigue.
Chronic fatigue. Okay. What else? Yeah.
In the absence of your famous pizza, a little bit on new non-surgical work for osteoarthritis of the knees.
Oh, for osteoarthritis of the knees?
There's non-surgical.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
Appreciate that.
So in general, like non-surgical treatment for joint pain, degenerative
Well,
changes,
specifically
inflammation.
in the knees with the new stuff that's just come out.
Yeah.
I'm
menopause.
Amen.
Good. What else? Anything else? Yeah.
Low back pain.
Go back to great. You know, the other reason I do this is so as we start to put our schedule together for workshops and things like that, these are the things that people have interest in, and we want to get them on schedule. We're doing one on allergies and sensitivities coming up in a couple weeks. So anyhow, what else? Did anybody else have something that they were really interested in? Yeah.
Hormonal imbalances.
Okay.
Just detoxing.
Detoxing. Right. Well, I just am in a program right now to learn more about the latest and greatest on detoxing. 33,000 receptors on the average cell of our body, and most of them are dumped up with glyphosate, which is Roundup, fertilizers, pesticides, bad oils, you name it. And so it's really hard for hormones to actually have the effect on our cells. And unless you really get the cell well, it's going to be hard to get the body well. So I'm glad you brought that up, because it is really interesting when you start getting deeper and deeper and deeper into the process of healing. Who has anything else? Are we good? Right there. Slow down dementia, chronic fatigue, non-surgical knee treatment, menopause, low back pain, hormonal imbalances, and detoxing. All right, so Bree and Barbara, that was for you, so that as you're doing your presentation, I'm going to just leave this here, and then at least if you find that you can weave that into your presentation. And Bree, I think you're first. All right, let's give her a hand.
Thank you very much. Thank you everyone for coming. This is so exciting. I mean, it's my first exposure to this community, and I'm really excited. So, as you can see, I have a few credentials. A lot of words, but in short, I'm an acupuncturist and I practice herbology. And that is definitely my passion. So, just a little bit about me. Just gonna start. So, my family, as you saw earlier, my daughter, she's running around a little bit. I really enjoy cooking. I'm also a medicinal chef, self-proclaimed medicinal chef. So, I like to incorporate a lot of Chinese medicine herbs into my cooking, and it's a little bit of a passion for me, and I've kind of been exploring that avenue. It's been fun, and I live and work on a farm currently with my in-laws, so that's been really fun to kind of plant, grow, cultivate, dry, harvest, all that good stuff, and turn it into products, put it into food, or make oils, different things. It's been a really interesting experience with my herbalism degree to kind of see that come to fruition. And then my amazing husband, Sam, he's coursing through everything. So just a little bit more about me. It's always uncomfortable to talk about yourself, but just my background. So I went to undergrad in San Francisco. I got a bachelor's in health education, holistic health, and then I proceeded to go to San Diego, where I got a couple more degrees. And my favorite thing to talk about is when I did a semester abroad in China, and that was really eye-opening, and I think that really kind of was a turning point in my Chinese medicine career, and just kind of seeing, in person, straight up, what they do, source of the medicine, and it was wild. I mean, they were putting like 4 or 5-inch needles directly into the spine, which is something that in school, they really caution against. So it was, in a way, kind of more showing you, you can't necessarily hurt someone that easily, but I'm still very precautious, and I don't practice the way that they do in China. I do a more Western approach to those techniques that they have. And I did 4,800 hours in school, so you go through about 5 years of school to become an acupuncturist, and that's with a doctoral degree at the end, and it's a lot. But I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to have done it. So I also like to hold events similar to today. I did a lot of the cooking with my amazing mother-in-law over here who I live and work with on the farm. But one of my specialties is creating topical products. So I like to incorporate a lot of medicinal herbs, whether it be from our own farm or I purchase them online. And I like to incorporate things like beeswax, calendula flower, which is really amazing. So I've created a little bit of a topical serum oil from calendula. But yeah, I just host different events throughout the year. So if you're interested, I'd love to talk to you about that. It's really awesome. Oh, that does not look great. Definitely a little bit different on my screen. Sorry about that. So in general, I have a philosophy where I like to take every patient as they are. I create a very individualized experience. So the beautiful thing about acupuncture and Chinese medicine is you can kind of tailor it to each individual. It's not one size fits all, you know, like Western medicine tends to be with a drug. Oh, it works for 80% of people, but you know, the 20% is left out. Yeah, acupuncture and Chinese medicine in general really gears it towards each individual. And it's very interesting because you present one way one week, and then the following week you're completely different. So it's really important each day, each time, each appointment, each treatment to really re-examine, take those vitals, check out that patient and see where they're at. We incorporate all of the typical Western vitals, blood pressure, pulse, height, weight, all those different things. And then we also incorporate a lot of the Chinese medicine vitals, which I'll talk about a little bit later. So a little bit of the history. I don't know if anyone is familiar with acupuncture. Is anyone familiar with, okay, a few. So it's pretty old, as you can see. Really more recently kind of came to the States. So as you can see, really long time ago, 100 BCE, books were being produced in China, and that's kind of like the earliest known time of when they were writing things about acupuncture. And in the 70s is when it made its way to the US. So it was actually after an emergency surgery by, the exact wording, a press corps member. Very interesting. So he ended up writing an article in the New York Times, and then that got a lot of exposure for acupuncture, and everyone was like, oh, what is this thing? I've never heard of it, never seen it. So from there, it just kind of flooded to the US. Pretty cool. So acupuncture is relatively new in the US. So a little bit more on the research. Sorry about the formatting, I'm not sure about that. So the NIH has played a big role in supporting acupuncture, and they are kind of, I'd say, like the biggest proponents for acupuncture who really supported it and pushed it to be in the US. So a little bit about the mechanism of action. So according to the Johns Hopkins Journal of Medicine, so this is more of kind of like the qi mechanism. So what is qi? It's kind of an esoteric term in a way. You can't necessarily quantify it or really see it. Definitely not on any test or any blood work. You're not going to find qi. But it's your vital energy. So it's that energy that really supports you. It holds you up. It makes your heart beat. It gives you that pulse. It pumps your blood. It does all of these processes, pathophysiological processes in your body. It processes your digestion. It puts out the sweat. It takes in your temperature. All of these amazing things that happen in your body, it all goes back to qi. So a very interesting esoteric concept. And then there's this neurological aspect that occurs that has been documented well with research. And it's more of the idea of kind of an injury that's happening in the body and healing of that injury and sending those cytokines and this storm that comes to your body to really take away whatever is local. So let's say you have osteoarthritis of the knee. So I would typically take in, okay, your vital signs and really do an examination of your entire body. I know you came in for your knee, but we're also going to look at everything else. How are you sleeping? How's your digestion? How is your anxiety, stress? all of those things. They could be playing into your knee. So I will put needles generally around your knee, but I also could put needles anywhere else in your body. It's not going to be specific to the knee area. So when they're local to the knee, I'm telling the area in the knee, okay, there's inflammation here, there's a problem here, there's something going on with the blood, there's something going on with the skin, the connective tissue, the muscles. Attention, put your attention here, do something with this area. Bring in new blood, bring in new osteoclasts, osteoblasts. Take that chi, move that blood. So there's a lot of things that happen locally, but then systemically, I'm putting those needles in other points in the body, which are connected to meridians or channels, which many of you maybe have heard with acupuncture. So there's a couple, it's like multifaceted in a treatment. It's not one size fits all, which I love about that. So what is traditional Chinese medicine? I'm sure many of you have actually heard this term. It's very interesting. It's kind of like a strange term, and TCM. What is TCM? So it's kind of an umbrella term for a medical system and a way to treat people. So it can include qi, blood, yin, yang. It also includes mental health, physical health, digestion, sleep, anxiety, all of those things that I talked about earlier. And at the core of it, it's really just to restore this balance. So we have homeostasis, we have balance. There's opposing factors that go on in the body. There's yin, there's yang, so you have too much of something or not enough of something, and the idea is, okay, we want to bring that up or bring it down and create this balance in the system. So in Chinese medicine, disease is created from imbalance, and so that's the whole basis and kind of where the yin and yang comes from, that duality of the poles. Everything is in opposites, so light, dark, excess, deficiency, hot, cold, etc., etc. It's very interesting. So traditional Chinese medicine is also an umbrella term. It includes many different modalities, so it's not just acupuncture, which many of you may be more familiar with. It also includes things like cupping, gua sha. Has anyone had cupping or know what cupping is? And gua sha, which I love. I love cupping and gua sha. So many of you may have seen gua sha kind of on the horizon for facials, which is really interesting. But you can actually use a gua sha anywhere on the body to treat pain. Any muscle, pretty much any area on the skin. If you have pain or trauma or anything that's going on, you can use the gua sha tool. Also different things with massage, different types of massage, specifically Tui Na massage. It's a very Chinese massage. It's not as used as much more recently. It's kind of like an older technique. I still do it though. It's great results from that. And then there's also food and herbal therapies. So living and eating in the seasons and eating different foods for your diagnosis. So let's say you have too much heat in your body, so everything in dualities. You have too much heat in your body, so I would prescribe cooling foods, cooling things. Depending on the season, what type of cooling things, how are they going to cool? Where in the body are they going to cool? And then different herbal remedies, powders, pills, topicals, internals, and those would kind of reinforce the acupuncture, whatever diagnosis that I come up with, and really take that home to reinforce the treatment that I'm doing with the needles. So there's a lot of, it's multifaceted, there's a lot of different things that goes on in an appointment in 1 hour and 60 minutes. It's awesome, a lot of tools under my belt. So the NIH came out with some research, and this is a list of things that they clearly support and have found research on. So it might be hard to read. Sorry about that. I'll just list off a couple. So nausea, dental pain after surgery, a lot of pain. Pain is probably the #1 reported symptom that acupuncture treats. Addiction, really interesting. We actually use ear acupuncture, auricular acupuncture, if anyone has heard of that. There's a protocol that they actually are sending to the military, and they're training a lot of nurses and PAs in the military to do this 1-ear acupuncture protocol to treat PTSD, addiction, stress, all those different mental health disorders. It's pretty awesome. I actually really like ear acupuncture. Headaches, menstrual cramps, tennis elbow, fibromyalgia, myofascial pain, osteoarthritis, low back pain, carpal tunnel, and asthma. And there are a lot of other research articles and research to support other disorders, but as far as the NIH is concerned, this is the list that they have put out as far as their research. So things that I specialize in, I'm kind of treat everything. These are more things that I am more familiar with, and I just have had good results with. Women's health generally, also men's health. I don't want to leave you guys out. And something I've been more passionate in the more recent times has been holistic skincare. So because of all the herbal products that I have made myself, I've been really into this cosmetic facial acupuncture treatment, if anyone would be interested in that. It's kind of fun. Usually do it in a series, and I've gotten great results. I think I have a photo coming up of before and after of a few treatments. I also do cupping, gua sha, moxa, all those good things. Stress reduction, that's a really big one because I like doing the ear acupuncture. And then of course, pain and sports injury. That was kind of my baby when I first graduated from school. I treated a lot of pain. So I find pain, you really have to be consistent and come often to really nip that in the bud. And that can be acute or chronic pain. It can be post-surgical pain. Really anything related to the muscles, acupuncture is great for. So just a little bit more about the holistic skincare and using products that are rooted in Chinese medicine is a great way to kind of really take that home. And then here's a before and after of some eye treatments I was doing with facial acupuncture. And you can kind of see the drooping in the right eye and then the lines on the side of the face. Pretty interesting. I'm a big proponent for using needles as opposed to injections. Similar but not the same. All right, so that is pretty much the end of my presentation. Thank you so much for listening. I really enjoyed this experience, and yeah, I hope you have some questions, and yeah, I'm interested in talking.
Does anybody have any questions now? If you want to ask,
Yeah.
Bree will be here at the end to answer questions, but just any like specific things right now.
Yes, please.
When you do skincare, do you do like, I have like eczema and like rashes, other places, do you work with that as well?
Yeah, you mean whole body skincare?
Yeah, whole body, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. Thank you.
Any other questions?
I've heard of the cupping, I've seen that, but what is the gua sha? What's that?
So it's a tool. There's different shapes. In the chiropractic world, it's also known as the Graston technique. But typically, it's like either a metal or a stone or a horn, and it's like this little tool, and it's a scraping technique. And it's really just to bring blood to the surface and really warm up the area. So when there's injury, your muscles become cross-fibered. So with the gua sha or the Graston, you kind of straighten them out and lay them more flat. So it's really good for acute injury, actually. It's great. You got slept on your neck wrong, or you worked out too hard in the gym. It's a really good way to just kind of get that in the butt. Mm-hmm. Any other questions? Thank you, everyone.
I was just curious, your initial visit, how long did you say that was?
So 50 minutes to an hour. I schedule for 50, but I usually go for an hour. I just like talking to my patients. All right, thank you so much.
Wonderful, good job. So informative, huh? Amazing. So she's gonna, like I said, be answering questions at the end. She's got a little invite for you guys as well to be able to come and I'll explain more. But I'm gonna also introduce Dr. Barbara. Yes.
Does Bree have something to do with the food?
Yes, I was gonna say that. She made those amazing dishes. She made the whole cheese spread, the green quinoa, the tortellini with broccoli, and she made a lot of it from the Bluebird Canyon farm. So, and she used her herbology, so you can see there was like all those greens in the quinoa. So let's give her a round of applause. Thank you. And I want to thank you guys too. Okay, so it's Mariella and Scott Tenney. So they own Bluebird Canyon Farm. So we can thank them for giving us the amazing food and veggies and flowers and all that. So we're all right, so I'm going to invite Dr. Barbara up now, and she gets to share as well. So we got two amazing doctors joining us. So fun at the same time. All right, go for it. Take it away.
All right. Hey, everybody. How are you tonight? Thanks so much for sticking around. I'm Dr. Barbara Rush, and I have a very involved story, but I'm going to shorten it for you, so we're not here forever. I was born and raised in the Midwest, and I grew up out in the country, and I learned the value of how important it is to incorporate nature into my journey with wellness. And I know that's like a catchphrase and everybody wants to do it, but it's amazing how you have to kind of pay attention, right? Nature has these laws that you can't escape. It's like gravity, right? Or things like that. And there's other things that kind of play into that. So when I went to naturopathic medical school, we just were automatically steeped in that entire philosophy for the entire time we were there. And it really did reflect on a lot of the things that I do now, the way I treat patients and the way I help to get them to kind of think for themselves and be like, okay, here's what most people are doing, yet when we really look at what's really going on, does it make sense if we do that? So what I want to do is I want to just tell you guys what I'm bringing here to Health in Balance. And the first thing is, I've been doing IV therapy for about 20 years. And I learned from the very best in this nation. And I love IV therapy. There is a lot of things you can do with IV therapy, even though we have our gut and we eat and we might take supplements and do our detoxes and stuff like that. Sometimes we still have to affect our nutrition or our health by actually accessing the bloodstream immediately. Does that make sense to you guys? Okay. All right, it is very quick. These are some of the IVs that I offer. The first one is ozone. I learned from a man called Dr. Frank Schallenberger. He's an MD. He went to Germany, learned how to do ozone and brought it back to the US, and he taught a lot of doctors how to do ozone therapy. Ozone is amazing. It's a way of harnessing a version of oxygen, and oxygen. It's O3, and this is where physics plays a big part. We know we have ozone in that upper atmosphere, right? Up there, it likes to stay together, right? But when you bring it down here, it has a hard time staying together. It wants to come apart. It wants to come apart and become O2, which is oxygen, and it has that extra electron. That's what we actually want to harvest. Think back to when we were in chemistry, and you would look up at that periodic chart, and all the way on the top left, you had hydrogen, right? Which had one electron. Now we know, we all know that all elements are identified based on how many electrons they have. But if I took that extra electron and I gave it to the hydrogen, hydrogen only has one electron. So if I give it another electron, is it still hydrogen? No, it becomes a completely different molecule. It becomes helium, okay? So that's what we actually want to harness. When we use ozone and we put it, and we use it, and we drop it in as an IV, what happens is, if we have a bacteria, or a virus, yeast, funguses, molds, even if we have Lyme, ozone is a phenomenal treatment for people that are struggling with doing this kind of stuff. So ozone has the ability to affect the symptoms that we're feeling right now, right? We all know, oh, I'm getting sick, I've got that little tickle in the back of my nose or in the throat. When we sense that, we know a few things. Number one, our immune system is having a hard time keeping up. So we're already feeling those symptoms. Ozone has the ability to go in and actually sanitize the blood. When we sanitize the blood, guess what happens? It relieves the immune system of having to chase after that stuff, right? So it has the ability to help relieve the immune system of its job for the minute, and just, I don't have to chase after what's in the blood anymore. Now, on here we're going to have a couple things that have HH next to them. That means that a similar form of that IV is available during happy hour, which of course is on Fridays, of course. And the next one we're going to talk about is the Immune IV. Now this is something, it's a nutritive IV, and it actually gives a little bit more vitamin C, but it also gives you other nutrition that will help with viruses and bacterial things. But if you actually combine the ozone and then follow it with an Immune IV, that's what I call the combo IV. This is when people have come in and they're like, oh, I know I'm getting sick, and I've got this big presentation, or I'm going on vacation, and I just really don't want to be sick. And they'll come in and they'll do the combo IV, right? So we'll start with ozone, and we'll follow it right with that Immune IV, and that's actually the combo IV. You guys understand that? Cool. Hydration. I have to admit, I've lived in Ohio where we had insane temperatures in the summertime, but what was just as insane was the humidity factor. It was brutal. Until I came down to Southern California, and I experienced even hotter temperatures in the summertime, and sometimes single-digit humidity numbers, which is like, you know, then when we're in that kind of heat, what are we doing? We're turning on our AC, we're drying everything out. Sometimes we just need to have a little hydration. Even if we don't drink enough water, hydration IVs are awesome. The last one is, I put the abbreviation there, and that's for high-dose IV vitamin C. This is something that is definitely for the healing when we are struggling with some kind of a chronic immune situation, okay? It can be things like cancer, it can be shingles, it can be herpes, it can be Epstein-Barr. These things are usually things when we get a virus, even though it might go into remission in some way, it is still there. And we know from the ads that we've heard that if you've had chickenpox when you were younger, oh, if you're over 50, you have a chance of having, you know, shingles. And, you know, they say shingles doesn't care, right? Well, sometimes we can come in and we can affect that with something like this. Now, this is the only IV that I have to do as very special blood test to make sure you've got the right amount of, and you're not deficient in something called G6PD. So we will have you do a blood test if you want to do something like that. Okay. Now the ones below, these are, it's going to be kind of obvious what they do, like the Be Energized. A lot of people come in and they'll get a series of Be Energized, usually in the fall, because they want to have that extra push of energy, right? Because then they're going to go home and do something on the weekend. It might be the holidays, or families coming into town, or they've got a big project, or the work is just too much. They need a little extra energy. So they'll do something like that. Frequent flyer, I developed that when I was working in Hollywood. People were flying back and forth between LA and New York. And this is something that's kind of like the immune, so it's going to boost up that immune function, but it's going to give more fluid. Because when we get on a plane, it's very, very dry. And we're usually breathing everybody else's yuck, and we don't want that, right? The next one on here is longevity. It does just what it says. This is about the stuff of helping your brain, making sure that we're really nourishing the things that we need to have a good rest of our longevity. So that is something that has lots of things in it. If you are interested in the ingredients, it's going to be on the website, all the ingredients and the pricing. Next one is Be Calm. This is one of my most frequently requested things on Fridays. A tough week, bringing in the Be Calm can be very amazing. And of course, the master antioxidant, glutathione, right? So we can either have a glutathione IV, or we can just take a nice gram of glutathione and give it to you as an add-on onto these IVs, okay? So I can do that either way, any way you want to do that. And the last one here is NAD. This is one of my favorite molecules. Has anybody ever had any experience with NAD? Awesome. So NAD, I've worked in the addiction industry, I have worked in all kinds of different areas, anti-aging industries. NAD is phenomenal. It has the ability to really bathe the brain and really rehab what's going on there when it comes to memory loss or actual other things going on in the brain. That as we age, we're like, I really just need a bump there. NAD can do that. But here's the rub. NAD actually has the ability to go in and do what we call mitochondrial rejuvenation, which is a big buzz phrase, right? It has the ability to go in and help all those little mitochondria. Every cell in our body has many mitochondria, and the mitochondria are the powerhouses of the cell. And so when we have an opportunity to have an NAD IV, it really helps us. And we can do, you have to work up to it. If you've never had an NAD IV, NAD can be a very different experience for people. So if you have had experience with it, or you can come in and get a bigger dose, but I have to have proof that you've done that, because you can have an odd experience. Or you can take a ml or two and add it to a bigger bag, and then you can start prepping your body with the NAD. It's very, very effective. Okay, next is intramuscular injections. These are what I call a quick shot. So whenever you see the letter B in front of any of these, it just means it includes B complex, right? The B complex is important for all kinds of stuff. First one is the B12 plus. You know, a lot of times people say, oh, I'm just gonna go get a B12 shot. Well, actually, parenterally, when we deal with B12, it actually wants the whole family if it wants to be completely utilized as much as we can. You're still gonna get some, but we wanna make sure that your body's gonna be able to utilize more of that B12 than less. The next one, the B skinny, I'm sure you guys know what that's for, right? This is something that is to be done in conjunction with a program, of an exercise routine, or whatever, okay? This is not where, I've had people come in and they do it for 2 months and they're like, I've gained 10 pounds, I don't understand. I come in and I get the B skinny shot and then I go have pizza and beer every time I come in. I'm like, okay, we're missing the point here. Okay. So it's not a standalone, it's just designed to be supportive of whatever else you're doing. And then of course we have Be Ageless. You know, when people are really working on this kind of stuff, that biotin is great for the skin and hair. We've got phosphatidylcholine in there, and of course we've got that B complex. Phosphatidylcholine is great for the brain. Sometimes it helps people when they have to kind of even out those emotions and stuff like that. And the last one is Liquid Zen. Now Liquid Zen, I've worked a long time to get a very specific ratio of these ingredients to work just right. And I will say that all of these quick shots you can add to any IV, except the Liquid Zen cannot be added to a Calm IV, because a lot of these ingredients are in there, and these are at maximum amounts. Any more, and you're not going to be able to drive. But all the other stuff is fine, and if you do just the Liquid Zen or just the Be Calm, you can still drive home. You will not be impaired. Okay? All right. Here is something that I encourage you guys to go to the website if you haven't already and read my story. Okay? I had developed a product, and through using the Max Pulse. The Max Pulse is an FDA-approved Type 2 device, and what it allows you to do is to kind of step back, like you're standing on the moon and you're looking at the earth. It gives you a general idea of what's going on in your entire cardiovascular system. Cardiovascular disease is still the #1 killer. The last time we had a #1 killer, can anybody guess when that was? The Spanish flu, over 100 years ago. That's a long time, okay? So what this does is this has the ability to show you exactly how much plaque you have in every artery in your body. It also helps you to understand, are you tending towards heart weakness, or are you tending towards arterial hardening, or are you tending towards both? And so it's going to give you a chance to kind of get an idea on this stuff. I did develop a product, and if you come in and do this, I'll offer it to you. You are under no obligation to purchase this. It is something that I have found that really helps people move the needle if they're interested in doing that. These appointments are on the 1st and 3rd Wednesdays of the month, and guess what? Wednesday is the 3rd Wednesday of the month. So you guys can go ahead and sign up for this. It's only a 20-minute appointment. It's very fast. When you do when you come in for something like this, you just sit very still. We put something that looks like a pulse oximeter on your left index finger. You're very, very still. And at the end of your test, you get your results. So we don't have to wait for days, and it does reveal quite a lot.
Does it go through the meridian lines to tell, or how does it?
So
how does it tell the plaque?
Yeah. So what happens is when it measures here, it's looking at when the heart pumps the blood out through the system and it comes back. What is everything it's had to go through and experience? And you'll see a lot of people they're not normally just 100% in one particular type. It's gonna show, oh, you've got a percentage here, you've got a percentage here, but the majority is here, okay? And I don't have a lot of time to go into it, but it's definitely something that it shows you, like, is there a progression of plaque buildup, or are we in a healthier state?
Is it sort of do you get sort of like a graph? Is it just worded where your issues are?
It's an illustration.
It's an illustration.
It's an illustration, yeah. So, and it has like it has 7 pictures of an artery, like the round artery part of it. And it starts absolutely clean, and then it starts to build up, and it shows you like really like dangerous zones, okay? So, and it's very fascinating. We have actually worked together, okay, to bring down the price of this. It's normally a $250 test, but we collaborated. We brought it down to $70, and a portion of that will go to a charity to help people in the area that are having a hard time. So I would really love, I mean, because of my story, especially if you read my story, I would really love to get everybody in here to do this because I think it's really important. So, and everybody thinks, oh, I don't have any cardiovascular risk in my family. Actually, if you go back far enough, everybody has cardiovascular risk in their family. You know? So it's a great thing. Last but not least, I do microneedling. Microneedling, believe it or not, was originally developed to deliver medication into the skin. So, and you can do microneedling anywhere you have skin. Okay, so if you don't like the cellulite you have on your thighs, you can microneedle that. Okay, if you don't like the spots you have on the back of your hand, you can microneedle that. Okay, it helps a lot of stuff.
Helps scarring.
Acne scarring, it helps any kind of scarring. Like if people have had the open heart surgery, right, like my dad did, it'll help that. It takes more than one time to do it. Okay, and of course I always have science to back this up, but I'm pretty sure that seeing is believing here, right? And then we have wrinkles. I think this is the biggest reason why people come in and do this. We also have stretch marks. It's not just for people that used to be pregnant. People have stretch marks in all kinds of places on their body. So you can do it there. Hair regrowth. I know I'm not in my 20s anymore. I don't have as much hair on my head as I used to. So when I do my microneedling, I just do my face and then I do my scalp too. And here's something I think is quite amazing. The pictures that you can see, any kind of hyperpigmentation, it doesn't have to be those dark spots. It can be, you know, some people have a facial complexion that has interesting coloring, and you can do it on that too. But what happens with microneedling is when you puncture the skin in anything, whether we're doing acupuncture or we're doing IV therapy or we're gonna, you know, do something like microneedling, which by the way, I do numb your area. That would be torture if we didn't do that. When you puncture the skin, the body has a reaction and it says, oh, we have a hole here. We have to run over and fill it up. So it goes over to its cabinet, it opens it up and it says, okay, we need to have all of the collagen stuff to create collagen and run over there, we're gonna fill up that hole. But we're not just gonna fill up the hole, we have to support it with even more collagen, which when we're doing it for wrinkles, that's exactly what we wanna do, right? So.
Do you draw blood and take the stem cell? Do you spin it, or do you not do it that way?
I'm not doing it right now, we're gonna see what the
adult.
response is. I've done it in the past.
So when you microneedle, you're just puncturing, you're not putting any stem cells in. Is that right? Am I understanding?
So we're gonna talk about that on Wednesday. Thank you.
Sorry, I only know it one way, so I didn't know there was another way.
There is another way. Okay. There is. Yeah, I can do that. I know that Dr. Gary has said he's got a centrifuge here, so we can do that. Mm-hmm. But here it is. See, I do work with serums, very special serums. Hyaluronic acid is one. This is nothing that I created. But hyaluronic acid, when we get it into the skin, it wants to draw moisture, which is exactly what we need, right? Here it is, apple stem cells. This is not the first place we have seen science tap into fruit to extract certain things that are going to affect us in this way, right? So we have things, and this is a Swiss apple. Have you guys ever heard of it? No? So apple stem cells come from a Swiss apple, okay? And what they did is they picked a bunch of apples, put it in storage for 4 months, and then when they came back, they're like, oh, these apples are all dry, old, and wrinkly. But this apple looks like we just picked it. So again, they have been able to extract that stuff, and I do use Chinese herbal extracts because, I mean, I think, you know, like Bree said, there's just magic in Chinese herbs. And so I use hyaluronic acid, apple stem cells, and then I use different Chinese herbal extracts, and I've created liquid facelift, something called spots, and Jing Essence. So the first two, it's obvious what they do. Jing Essence is more for when we're a little older. I mean, we just might have tired looking skin. You know, we might not be treating wrinkles or whatever, but we just want to freshen it up a little bit, right? Brighten it up a bit. And so, so this is kind of something that I've had a lot of fun with in the past. So I believe, okay, so here's my offer this evening. My offer tonight is if you guys want to, you know, come and see me, we have the sheets. I think they're going to be handling that in the back. If you sign up tonight and you keep that appointment, okay, I offer something called quick acupuncture. All right, I'm also an acupuncturist, and I am more than happy to have Bree do all the like constitutional stuff. I think that's awesome. I offer something called quick acupuncture. That's if you already have a microneedling appointment, or you have an IV therapy appointment, and you can do it, you know, one is on one day, one is on the other. But what I do is I offer quick acupuncture for free. So you can have, I think there's 5 different things, and you can see it when you make the appointment. And I think it's going to be on the sheets if you sign up. And that's for when you sign up tonight, over the next week, I will offer you a free quick acupuncture session. So that's my story, and I'm going to stick to that. All right, so does anybody, oh, and I do have someone who we were asked to have a testimonial. And so one of my people said that they would be willing to give me a testimonial tonight. So I would like to thank that person. Linda, thank you so much. Are you willing to stand up and say? Yeah, thank you.
No, I am very much so. I know you always hear that, oh, the doctor so-and-so saved my life, but I'm like not kidding you. So in August of 2000, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, stage 4, lymphatic involvement as well. And I worked in a health food store, and I swam in the ocean, and I was healthy, and I did detoxing, and I was completely floored by this diagnosis. And so I wanted to incorporate all of the methodology to save my life. I love life, I wanted to live. And so I found Dr. Barbara, and we did high-dose vitamin C ad infinitum, and we did the blood ozone treatments, and we did the combination of the blood ozone followed by the immune IV, and I had the acupuncture stuck in me. And here we are, it is now 2023, I'm cancer-free and I'm healthy. And I recovered from radiation. I'm still recovering that. I did radiation with this because it was so bad that I did do the radiation, but she took care of all of the rest of all of the holistic stuff. And you could see me each week in her office with my needles trying to calm the stress down. It was a very, very emotionally difficult situation. It was very, very painful. And she got me through all of that. She got me through all of that. And I don't think I would be here living, breathing, thriving if she hadn't literally gotten me through that. She came to my house, you know. She came to my house when I couldn't do that. You know, she came to help me. And that was so helpful. And I just thank you so much for that. But I really feel like the high-dose vitamin C's and the blood ozone treatments allowed me to live. Thank you.
I did this so that I waited till his mouth was full, you know, so when he was chewing.
The Parmesan cracker is superb. I started noticing on a big swell, my son was a professional surfer, and I started noticing in a big swell, paddling through the lineup of whitewater coming at you. I started noticing like being a little bit tight in the chest, a little shortness of breath. I don't like that symptom. I also noticed when going on hikes that the first 10 minutes going uphill was also, I'm kind of feeling that. So I figured I better check in. My blood pressure was good, my blood tests were good, but I just figured I'd get a little closer look at everything. And how many have done a stress EKG where you're on the, and they always say, if you start to feel anything, stop there. And so I started to feel, I said, yeah, I'm starting to feel that a little bit. And I said, okay, stop there. They didn't find anything. I thought, okay. But still, you know how sometimes, oh, what was it? Meet Joe Black. Do you remember that weird movie? And he would kind of, so I just started thinking, maybe something's, it's okay. Maybe something's going on. I need to take a little closer look. So I went back and did another stress EKG, and they said, now if you feel anything, tell us and we'll stop the test. So I said, this time I know something's there, but I'm not going to stop the test. you fine? Yeah, I'm fine. And I'm feeling it. And then finally they saw the area of less oxygen in the heart, in a certain chamber. And so I went and got a CT angiogram and found 50 to 70% occlusion in the left anterior descending coronary artery, which is also known as the widowmaker. And I went, wow, isn't that interesting? So then my quest really started, and changing diet, looking at all the different supplementation, working with different functional medicine, medical doctors, and wanting to get more to the bottom of it. And I did a treatment called EECP. Do you guys offer that? Do you guys do EECP?
No.
Okay.
I
Interesting.
have the machine.
Yeah, you have the machine, but you don't do it? It's a pretty fascinating process. In between your heart beating, you have these leggings that pump from the calves, and it pushes backwards, so your blood's kind of going woof, 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 woof. So with all of that, I was able to get my blockage down to 30% over the course of a period of time. So I was interested to see her Max machine and actually the technology behind it, to think you can put your finger in a pulse oximeter and get some sort of readout in 30 seconds. And so that was very interesting to me. So basically she said, well, it's all about the nitric oxide pathway, and there's a product that you can potentially use it for a period of 6 months, and then come back and get the testing in. So I'm in the process of doing it. I have this kind of fruity little water beverage that she put together, and I'm just doing it and seeing how things end up going. I don't have any, big miracle stories or anything. I've only been on it for a month. But I like the fact that, technology, that I don't have to put a dye in my system and have a CT angiogram, and just that technology, and the FDA has actually cleared this machine. It was something of interest, and a very low cost, test to kind of see where things are at. And then, there's the questions of, okay, so what do I do with this information? How do I go about moving forward? Because, how there are some medical practitioners that want to get you on meds. It's right now, you're on statins, you're on blood pressure medication, you're getting blood thinners, and boom, 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 boom. And usually when people go on those meds, they don't come off. And I, opted to not do that and try to do things as naturally as I can. So that's, just my experience with Barbara, and just going from there.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I appreciate
Yeah.
it. So, yes, like I said, if you guys go on the website and you check out my story, you'll see why I'm quite passionate about this. It's something that I really want to make a dent in this statistic, if I can, while I'm still on this earth. And I'd really appreciate all of your help telling anybody you know that may already have a situation they'd like to overcome, to come in on the first and third Wednesdays of every month. And at the holiday time, when I know families come into town, I might offer it a little bit more often. So I really want to be able to move the needle on this for people. So thank you so much. I really appreciate all of your attention. Please, if you have any questions, I would love to answer them for you.
Yes. Yay! So we are just so excited to have Dr. Barbara and Dr. Bree with us. I think they're just going to add so much to our team and just give you guys continued support in your healing journeys. So thank you guys for joining us. And so Dr. Bree is going to be here on Friday afternoons, starting on May 12th. And then Dr. Barbara is going to be here Tuesday mornings, Friday afternoons for her happy hour IVs, and Saturdays. So that's going to be their time frame. If we need to expand and have more hours, we will. But we're going to be signing you guys up tonight if you want to basically schedule me and they in the turquoise shirt back there. We've got their schedules here, so you guys can sign up.
You and Bay?
Huh?
Sorry.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
feedback,
fair.
yeah.
So for Bree, she's doing 20% off her first session with you with a free consultation. And then Dr. Barbara let you know she's going to be doing the free quick acupuncture edition with your session. Also wanted to let you guys know that we are going to be doing a demystifying allergies workshop in 2 weeks on May 1st. So that's where Dr. Gary and Dr. Lisa are going to be talking a bit about both food intolerance allergies and seasonal allergies, giving you guys some tools, giving you guys more information about what those things are, because a lot of times there's a lot of confusion around those things and why they happen and how to treat them. So that's going to be on the 1st. So if you're interested in that, make sure you put that on your sign-up sheet and just make sure you're on our email list and you'll get all the updates and all that good stuff. So another thing that we do that we want to invite all you guys to is Aloha Week. We open up our office and we do free treatment all week. It's super fun. We do it like 3 times a year. So our next one I believe is coming up in May. So stay posted on that, but we'll do like a little bit of hands-on therapeutic work with our DMS machines, and the doctors do a brief assessment and a little gentle introductory adjustment. So that's always super fun, and we raise money for local charities. So glad to have all of you guys here. It was a wonderful night. I'm going to bring Dr. Bree and Dr. Barbara up here. They're going to be here so that they can answer any of your questions. Come talk to them, get to know them personally, and then like I said, me and Bay will be in the back signing you guys up. So thank you for being here.